Hello, welcome. Good evening. My name is Gifty Ando Apia. Ahead in our bulletin for tonight, renowned preacher Dr. Mensa Otabil appeals to President John Dramani Mahama to stop acts of
Ghana, now having been introduced to pneumonia program, we have to be involved in the education of its communities on pneumonia and to assist with drugs to prevent pneumonia.
At a ceremony to mark the day in Dangbe West, the youth were trained to become advocates for the prevention of pneumonia.
Welcome to the details of your most authoritative source of news and information. Renowned preacher and general overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, has made a passionate appeal to President John Dramani Mahama to stop the act of evil and manipulation of his sermons by some persons believed to be members of the NDC. According to Dr. Otabil, the perpetrators of these blatant acts of impunity were largely affiliates and surrogates of the ruling party who sought to discredit him by scoring cheap political points in this year's election campaign.
I am a pastor. I am not a politician. I am not standing for any political office. I am not a member of any political party. This year, 2012, I have been drafted again. My voice and sermons have been sampled, spliced, and manipulated to appear to take a political position on a very heated political issue. I have also been made to appear as taking a stand against one political group or the other. Let me state clearly that the sound bites that have been played with my voice have been taken totally out of context. In some cases, phrases from different messages I have preached over the years with no relationship to one another have been mischievously pieced together to create the impression that I was making a current contribution on the ongoing political debate. This is defamatory. It is unethical. It is criminal. It is malicious. It is Machiavellian, and it is evil. It is a violation of my person and my integrity. It is no one, and I repeat, no one has the right to force their thoughts into my words. I own my thoughts, I own my words, and I own my beliefs. Call upon the President of the Republic to rise up and speak on this issue. With all due respect, sir, although you may not be aware of these developments, the perpetrators of these blatant acts of impunity are largely affiliates and surrogates of your party. Today, I come as a simple pastor. I do not have the machinery of state behind me. I do not have a police force or military detachment to defend me. I do not have serial callers or a media machinery to spin my story. All I have is the God whom I have served over the years. He is my strength and my fortress.
So those were the issues raised by Pastor Otabil, and the NDC, the John Mahama 2012 campaign team has noted that, and they have issued a response. Accordingly, we'll give you excerpt of that release now. It reads, "We would wish to respectfully draw the esteemed religious leader's attention to the fact that in the same way as it would be difficult for him to hold responsible for the expressed opinions or moral actions of even his pastors and other officials of the ICGC, it is equally difficult and actually an oversimplification to try to hold the president directly responsible or ask him to call to order any individual or group of individuals who may or may not have sympathies with the NDC and who are making information that is easily accessible available in the public domain. The John Mahama 2012 campaign, like some some other members of the public are aware that Dr. Mensa Otabil's past sermons are available in the public domain, and further that some of these sermons are commercially available for use. We do not see anything wrong with that, because we believe that the teachings of the religious leaders like Dr. Mensa Otabil are inspirational and provide listeners with a clear understanding of the principles and values of the Christian faith. It continues to say that to the extent that any of Dr. Otabil's statements in the public domain are indeed statements that have been previously made by him and are available in the public domain, we fail to see how quoting statements that one would assume were statements of principle have suddenly become the work of evil people who are surrogate and affiliate of the NDC. Now, let me give you the concluding part. It says that we're also equally respectful of the work of all our religious leaders in the Christian community, especially as regards the light they shed on our path by teaching and explaining the word of God. We call on the many supporters of the NDC in Ghana and across the world to ensure that in all discussions and contributions on matters of national debates, their contributions are factual. We believe this is to be of essential importance in ensuring that the people of Ghana are made aware of the choices and options confronting them in this election, so that together we advance peace and progress of our nation. And it was signed by Mrs. Hannah Tete, Director of Communications of the John Mahama 2012 campaign team. So that is a quick reaction to Dr. Mensa Otabil's the issues that he has raised. Let's move on to other stories. Now, General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, says Ghanaians should not vote the NPP to power because when the NPP had the chance, it looted state funds.
He says the Kufuor-led government created a mess in the country which posed a great challenge for the NDC when it assumed power. Addressing students of the Navrongo campus of the University for Developmental Studies, Asiedu Nketia said the NDC government is still struggling to make straight the mess the MPP created when they were in government. The NHIA boss, Sylvester Mensa, addressing the students, indicated that Ghana will face serious health risks if Nana Akufo-Addo is voted to become president. Meanwhile, President Mahama, on his tour, has called voters to consider voting for the NDC as they have the right policies for job creation. President Mahama says Ghanaians must reject the MPP because aside their impossible free senior high school policy, they don't have any other policy that will further help in the development of the country. The president will be rounding up his Upper East Region campaign with a visit to Boku and its surrounding villages today.
Still in election headquarters, the spate of hate speeches dominating the political discourse has generated a lot of concerns, with peace advocates worrying that the trends could fuel violence during next month's elections. To prevent such premeditated violence during the elections, some stakeholders have met the youth and advised them to be circumspect in their reaction or response to speeches that come from political leaders.
A common feature of African politics is that when political leaders begin to throw words at each other, the fallout usually lead young people and some fanatic followers to take the law into their own hands, sometimes leading to clashes, considering the reality that about 65% of the voter population is youthful. It is important to reach out to them in the pursuit of a peaceful election. It is to this end that Frederick Ebert Stiftang and the Inter-Party Youth Committee is organizing a 2-day program to preach peace among the youth.
When we thought about the election year 2012 in many countries in West Africa, the FES West Africa, which has 7 offices in the countries here, we decided to do a program with the youth people just to avoid conflicts happening in certain countries.
There were representatives from neighboring African countries, Senegal, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria, Benin and Togo to share their experiences. They emphasized that dialogue plays an important role in election. Addressing the youth present, Deputy Interior Minister Kobi Echampon appealed to the Electoral Commission to be left alone to do their job.
When the election results are being declared, I would not wish to see any political party mass up around the Electoral Commission. It should not happen. It has happened before, but it should not happen this time. We need to leave the EC to do their constitutionally mandated job.
The Inter-Party Youth Committee is a political organization involving the youth wing of the 4 main political parties with representation in Parliament. The representative had some advice for the youth.
We have raised this issue time with that number, telling them that even the chant slogan of all that we die, like we have been misconstrued, it's just ought to energize the base of our party, people, the youth, to also tell them that they need to be resolute and stand firm, and that's what we mean by that.
They have to actually do everything that they can within their might to ensure that they conduct themselves very peacefully. Because as we may all be aware, the election is now on countdown. And everywhere we go, we hear peace, 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 peace. I do not want to encourage any member of the Convention People's Party, the youth of the Convention People Party, to engage themselves in any sort of violence.
My advice for them is to desist from acts which will foment troubles at the polling stations during the counting and after the voting day.
So you can see leadership meeting, discussing it. If behind any of these leaders come to you to organize you with 20 Ghana cedis to go and kill your colleague, ask him to bring his first son, ask him to bring the daughter, ask him to bring the sister to lead that fight and see whether you see any of them, their children, on board.
It is the hope of everyone that this year's election will be as peaceful as any of the others held in this country since the return of constitutional rule in 1992.
Your election headquarters on TV, radio, and online. Election headquarters supported by Star Ghana and Infobox.
Join News at 8. You're welcome back. The Melcom group of companies have discredited speculations that the top floors of its Achimota branch was overloaded with goods, leading to its collapse. The disaster, which occurred last Wednesday, claimed 14 lives.
Briefing journalists on Monday, the public relations officer of the company, Richmond Ojo Kwarting, and the managing director, Bhagwan Kupchandani, all said the building in question had every necessary documentations that informed their decision to rent it.
We have not made any changes. Melcom didn't make any changes to the structure, and we acquired it, and it's in the agreement with the landlord or the owner of the property that we are acquiring it for the purpose of a mall.
We got a business operating permit from the AMA, and we have it on record. Anybody wants to see it. We have a business operating permit, a fire certificate, all the necessary certificates that were required.
Bhagwan Kupchandani again said all the affected persons will be catered for by the company.
Every penny, as I said, in terms of their medical treatment, their funeral, is going to be covered by us. We will go by the laws of the land, the Workers' Compensation Act, the labor laws. We are governed by all these laws. We will go by as the laws govern us.
When Joy News visited the disaster scene today after the rains, an intense stench engulfed the immediate environs of the disaster site. The assemblyman of the area told Joy News the place will be fumigated tomorrow. It was a field day for these scrap dealers who were busily scavenging for scraps to go sell. Melcom has 25 department stores nationwide with about 2,000 workers. Bhagwan Kupchandani told Joy News that tomorrow will be set aside to pray for the departed souls and those still admitted in the various hospitals.
Talk about poison turning into meat for others. Moving on, individual volunteers who helped out with the rescue mission during the Melcom disaster are to be enlisted into a professional rescue program. Deputy Health Minister Roger Meto-Nunu said this in an exclusive interview with Joy News. On the 5th day of the rescue mission, work at the site was almost brought to an end. Number of deaths and casualties fully calculated. Members of the security agencies have been on their feet, responding to a call of duty. But for these ordinary citizens, it was a move to compassionate appeal, a humane act to contribute their lay expertise to save lives trapped under the rubble of concrete, steel, glass and goods. Eyelids, lips and eyelashes stuffed with dust. Solomon is a driver who cannot recall the number of people he personally brought out, but he went down under the rubble and recounts the scene.
Na bim ni dan sire so onu se me man kwa ni ma me kasai ba friend betookrasi wawu se yiga bi na ni nan atwa ni mu ate anajo ni mu ate no aprokra it was the last girl yetimi ni free ho. So that's Richard, a spare parts dealer.
Guy back on no me nine ne nsenye na lock am on so lock ada guy back on e se kire ma guy back on so oye adwuma ho honum like Oto formana we no bim ne be born so santo ono de no wawu na guy back on so e de ni free so be e de ne be shame sa ono so no wawu mete ye ne ha me nti no omu pensione like drinks e de agugu ama wo ma ye yi wo mo no nti me de nsuo na ba inside na fe wo ma mpam biem na ma menya kwande ye adwuma yi ni pa ne bai.
In a quest to save lives, their own lives were on the line. A reward is in order.
These volunteers were able, with little holes that we created, to bring out on the first day more than 50 people. In spite of their equipment situation, they went in barefooted with chalewote, some without gloves, some without masks, and they brought out the people. In as much as we have a national rescue and recovery team, here we have a very bold, brilliant crop of volunteers who can be trained and inducted as part of the National Rescue Program.
The Deputy Minister was quick to add that a sense of discipline would not be overlooked in organizing these volunteers. Although some of the volunteers had more eyes for the spoils, it is clear that these volunteers had been of immense help to the men in uniform. Unlike the uniformed men who worked on shift basis so some could catch some rest, these volunteers did not, at least not an official break. They paid their dues and they will not be forgotten. A call for a reawakening of the spirit of volunteerism. We're still on the disaster. Now, the site of what has now been termed Melcom disaster could best be described as chaotic on the morning of Wednesday, November 7. As residents, onlookers and security personnel rushed to the scene, many were shocked at the sight that greeted them. It was without question extremely terrifying to see what the 6-story building had been reduced to, with people trapped underneath. Joy News takes us back to the day this unfortunate incident occurred.
The building caved in 9:30 in the morning of Wednesday, November 7, according to the first victim pulled out alive by some residents who had to rush to the scene. The victim, who is the staff of Melcom, appeared disoriented and aggressive and refused to be taken into an ambulance. He told reporters he and his colleagues were having a morning devotion when the 6-story building suddenly collapsed. Information Joy News gathered indicated the shop had not yet been opened to the public when the incident occurred. He told reporters he saw cracks on some pillars at the phone section where he was stationed and notified one of the managers 3 days before the incident. The joint security rescue effort appeared disorganized at the start as security forces, volunteer rescue workers as well as onlookers differed in ideas on how the rescue operation should be tackled. By late morning, a teeming crowd had moved close to the site, disrupting rescue operations. The police had it tough controlling the crowd until military reinforcement was called in to instill discipline and move the crowd across the street. The joint security rescue effort on Wednesday included the police, fire service, army, National Ambulance Service, NADMO and Sanitation Task Force. Corporate bodies such as Guinness, Ghana Limited, Chinese Construction, Mukazo Contracting and ARG Africa Engineers brought in excavators and other equipment to help in the rescue mission. By mid-afternoon, rescue workers had managed to go inside the rubble through a hole to get some victims out. Victims were immediately whisked to the hospital in ambulances after being rescued. In an interview with Joy News, a Melcom Chief Operating Officer, Arvinder Singh, indicated the building was rented and Melcom would not hesitate to bring a lawsuit against owner of the building. Arvinder Singh was not sure of the number of persons in the building when it caved in.
Our staff was about 50. Then there was some work going on of some external laborers. They don't clock into our machines. There was some internal renovation going on. So I'm not sure how many laborers had come on today. We are the only tenants. We had signed an agreement. I have given a copy of the agreement to the AMA boss.
No one really could tell the number of persons in the building when it collapsed. Greater Accra Regional Commander Patrick Timbila also told Joy News one Indian manager was among the victims rescued and taken to the hospital.
There are two managers, one Indian, one black. The Indian has been rescued. The attendance book has been trapped also. Meanwhile, we have rescued 57, one dead. That means the number is small. So they are saying their complement or strength is 50. But they were saying some woman and a daughter or so, a child, are inside.
Brother of Alice Atiso, one of the victims on Wednesday night, said his sister could not be located in any of the hospitals and he believed she was still trapped.
Here since morning, all people that are trapped in, coming out, I can't find my sister among them. And I've sent people to all various hospitals and they've come back that they can't find her anywhere. In the morning when we call, the phone was ringing but nobody was picking it. After 1 hour, it was off.
Sadly, Alice was rescued but did not survive. In an interview with Hassan Ayariga, he lamented, describing the construction of the building as a shoddy job.
Looking at the situation now, you can see that the building itself is shoddy work. Look at the pillar over there. You can see there's no iron rods there. There are no concrete, proper cement there. That means that the owner of this building really did very, very shoddy work, and this is the cost that we are seeing today. I think that we must appreciate the people here working very hard to rescue the people out there, in there. To be very honest, what I've seen here is that they do not have the necessary equipment to be able to do the work. Many of them are willing to do the work, but as of now, you can see that they are struggling with the little equipment they have.
He wants to see those responsible punished for such gross negligence that had claimed many lives. The President, John Mahama, Vice President Kwesi Emisa-Asa, the Accra Mayor Alfred Oko-Vanderpoel, Trade and Industry Minister Hannah Tete, MPP Vice Presidential Candidate Muhammadu Bawumia, PNC Presidential Candidate Hassan Ayariga, and Interior Minister William Obua visited the site on Wednesday to assess the situation.
Time now for business reports. And the third edition of My Business 2012 classroom session has begun in Accra with its CEO, Kojo Choi, an entrepreneur and consultant who operates in telecommunication, marketing communications, food and beverages. My Business 2012 is a collaboration between MTN Ghana Foundation and Joy Business.
My Business 2012 is an entrepreneur mentorship program which affords young budding business entrepreneurs the opportunity to tap into the skills of 10 of Ghana's finest CEOs. This year, 20 finalists will benefit from 10 days of one-on-one practical business tuition from top CEOs and a year's mentoring session. 3 top performers will win each 10,000 Ghana cedis to boost their businesses. With his businesses employing over 500 staff run by young Ghanaian professionals, Kofi Choi advised the young entrepreneurs on trusting their human instincts, building human relations, and when to exit. Some of the participants spoke to Joy News about their impressions so far.
It's been great. When you have a business, it's difficult to say you're moving on, you're leaving it and then starting something else. But today I've learned that it will be easier for me to grow my business, move on and then start another one.
There are certain things that our resource person said that I believe I've gotten somebody who understands me, because there are certain things that I was doing that nobody really understood what I was doing. But for today, I've seen that there are people who really understand me and then they know what I'm about.
The focus on people has been the key issue, and the issue of exiting, for me, that was the key thing.
A graduation ceremony for My Business 2012 will be held for participants on November 16, 2012.
A group calling itself Young Professionals Network International, YPNI, is set to hit the streets next weekend in what they call Leadership Awareness March for Young Professionals on the African continent. Made up of Reverend ministers, doctors, engineers, students and businessmen, etc. The group will converge at the University of Ghana in the morning at 8 to march through the Elwak Stadium for a lecture. President of YPNI, Brian Marcells, told Joy News the time is ripe to sensitize and provide mentorship skills to young entrepreneurs in their fields of expertise.
A good sense of leadership for the way forward for our country and for Africa, to try to influence policy decisions and those who are in the realm of affairs of this country and the decisions that they take that affects this nation and then for our children's children. And that is stable political atmosphere, peaceful climate, and also the drive for infrastructural development. If you believe in yourself and you believe that we are moving this continent of Africa forward, come and join us. Let's have a strong voice and let's influence the decisions that are taken in Africa and the world at large.
Sichupe Akwensivi says it's time to learn from all walks of life, especially as Ghana's elections draws close.
We're looking at the Accra zone, which will include Volta region and Eastern region as well. Bronga Hafo, tertiary institutions in the 3 northern regions, the Central and Western zone as well. A sensitization walk where students will gather, because at the end of the day, we're looking at students who are our future leaders. Whatever policy decisions that are taken in the country will basically affect our children and those yet unborn.
The walk starts at 8 a.m. from the University of Ghana campus on Saturday, November 24.
And away from Ghana, Japan's economy contracted in the July to September quarter as a global economic slowdown and anti-Japan protests in China hurt its exports, while domestic consumption remains subdued. Gross domestic product contracted 3.5%.
there, my name is Rashidat Kadiri and I bring to you the latest in the world of sports. Accra Hearts of Oak are expected to firm up a deal with David Duncan that will see the former Ash Gold coach taking over the reins of the club from sacked coach CK Akono for the next 3 seasons. The coach watched his new side defeat lower tier side in Saki FC by 3-0 at the club's training ground last Saturday. Duncan is expected to earn not less than $4,000 a month and is likely to resume work tomorrow as Hearts of Oak prepares for this Sunday's clash with rivals Kumasi Asante Kotoko. David Duncan, who has been jobless since failing to guide Ghana to the last Olympic Games in London, once coached clubs like Great Olympics, Hazakas, Ashanti Gold and South Africa's side, Free State Stars. He also handled Ghana's youth side, the Black Starlets, in the early 2000s, as well as the Black Meteors side 3 years ago. Right away from there, newly appointed captain of the Black Stars, Asamoah Gyan, who has ventured into boxing under the Baby Jet Promotions, is promising yet another spectacular showpiece in the future. Last Saturday's 4-bout promotion, titled The Clash of the Kings, saw Emmanuel Tego emerging the WBO International Lightweight Champion.
After watching his maiden promotion, which produced the new WBO International Lightweight Champion live up to the billing at the Accra Sports Stadium last Saturday, Asamoah Gyan expressed his delight in a post-bout press conference at the success of the promotion. Together with his team, which includes his elder brother, Bafo Gyan, the Black Stars captain, who is president of the Baby Jets Promotions, believes his newfound love in boxing will be sustained.
I just decided to help these Ghanaian boxers, because in the past we've produced a lot of great fighters who went to the world scene to bring the world title back home. The fight was supposed to come on about 6 years ago, and it couldn't happen. This fight ended successfully, and everybody is going home, So, and then at the end, the champion was emerged, and it was a great fight, though. So we promise you, in the near future, we'll bring another exciting fight.
The promotions, titled The Clash of the Kings, saw Emmanuel Tego defeat George Ashi for the WBO International Lightweight title after judges scored the bout 114-114, 113-115 and 112-116.
By majority decision. Ladies and gentlemen, amen.
The new WBO International Lightweight Champion Emmanuel Tego, who increased his tally to 20 wins on Saturday, is aiming at a world title shot. In the other 3 supporting bouts of the night, Raymond Comey won the West African Boxing Union and the National Super Bantamweight contest after knocking out Emmanuel Quartey in 2 minutes 58 seconds of the 10th round. Abraham Osei-Bonsu won a featherweight contest with a unanimous decision over Michael Papo. Isaac Owusu defeated Kamarudin Boyfio in a technical knockout in round 4 to win the Super Bantamweight contest.
So away from titles in boxing, let's do trophies in football as the 2012-2013 Globe Premier League is in session. And 2011 league champions Brekum Chelsea are the new league leaders of the ongoing Premier League after beating New Edibiase by 2-1 at the Brekum Golden City Park at the weekend. A late strike by strikers Latif Salifou was all Chelsea needed to claim the top spot after match day 7. The goal was the strikers' 5th out of 7. In other matches, RTU began their 6th home match at the Sipon Stadium, where they settled for a 1-1 draw with Temu Youth. Ashanti Gold picked up their first defeat of the season at the Obote Lenclair Stadium following a 1-0 defeat to 10-man Adriana Stars. Dethroned league leaders SC Mediama also lost to Liberty Professionals at the Clarendorf Park in Dansoman, and that game actually saw Kennedy Ashia improving his tally to 7 goals and currently leading the Goal King chart. Amidas Professionals defeated Brekum Chelsea 1-0 at the Tema Park, with Hearts of Lions beating King Faisal 1-0 at the Kpando Park. Dwarfs beat All Stars by 2-1 at the War Park. And on that note, I end sports for tonight. Coming up next is